Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, your mindset holds you back? Most people go through life reacting to problems instead of shaping their own path. They wake up tired, distracted, and unsure of what to focus on. And by the end of the day, nothing meaningful is done. But here's the truth. Your thoughts and habits create the life you live. In 2026, you can change everything by building small daily habits that shift how you think, feel, and act. These are not complicated routines or unrealistic challenges. They are practical, powerful steps anyone can take. The way you start each day, the choices you make in moments of doubt, the focus you give to what matters most, these shape your confidence, clarity, and energy more than anything else. In this video you will learn 10 positive habits that can literally rewire your mind, habits that make your decisions smarter, your actions stronger, and your results undeniable. If you follow them, you won't just survive the year, you will take control of your mindset, and that control will change everything in your life. Chapter 1. Notice your thoughts to take control of your mind. Your mind is the most powerful tool you own. Every decision you make, every emotion you feel, every action you take, starts in your mind. Yet so many people hand over control of their thoughts to chance, to fear, to the noise of the world. If you want 2026 to be a year of real change, the first habit you need to develop is noticing your thoughts and taking control of your mind. Noticing your thoughts isn't complicated. It doesn't require a special degree or complex meditation practice. It simply requires awareness and attention. Right now, most people live on autopilot. They react to situations without thinking. They absorb other people's opinions, and they allow their minds to wander wherever they want. But here's the truth. Whatever your mind dwells on most will shape your life. If you want to rewire your mindset for success, you must start by observing your thoughts as they appear. This habit begins with simple awareness. Imagine sitting quietly for a moment and just listening to your thoughts, not judging them, not analyzing them, just noticing them. What are you thinking about right now? Are your thoughts helping you, or are they holding you back? Are they empowering, or are they draining your energy? Most people never stop to ask these questions. They let their minds run wild, and then wonder why they feel stuck, stressed, or unmotivated. The first step is to pause and pay attention to your inner dialogue. Your thoughts are not random. They are patterns you have repeated over and over for years. If you keep thinking in the same ways, your life will continue in the same pattern. By noticing your thoughts, you begin the process of change. You begin to identify which thoughts serve you and which ones do not. This habit is deeply psychological because your mind follows what you focus on. What you focus on grows. If you focus on fear, doubt, or failure, you attract more of it into your life. If you focus on possibilities, solutions, and growth, you create an environment in your mind where success can flourish. Noticing your thoughts allows you to take the first step toward controlling them. When you catch a thought that is negative or self-limiting, you gain the power to stop it before it affects your actions. You can challenge it, replace it, or redirect it. You cannot control everything in life, but you can control what happens inside your head. That is your starting point, your foundation for transformation. Think about your daily life. How often do you worry about things that never happen? How often do you replay mistakes or imagine worst-case scenarios? That is your mind running without direction. But when you notice those thoughts, you create a gap between the thought and your reaction. That gap is where change begins. You can decide how to respond rather than react automatically. You can choose optimism over pessimism, courage over fear, and action over inaction. This is the power of noticing your thoughts. It is the beginning of self-mastery. It is the doorway to a mindset that supports your goals, your relationships, and your personal growth. Noticing your thoughts also helps you understand your emotions. Every emotion you feel is triggered by a thought. If you feel anxious, sad, frustrated, or unmotivated, there is a thought behind it. By observing your thoughts, you can identify the root cause of your emotions and address them directly. Instead of blaming circumstances or other people, you take responsibility for your mental state. This is not about denying reality. It is about choosing how to interpret it. Two people can experience the same situation and feel completely different because of their thoughts. When you notice your thoughts, you choose the interpretation that empowers you rather than the one that limits you. This habit also strengthens your resilience. Life will always have challenges, setbacks, and unexpected events. If you let your mind be controlled by negative thinking, you will feel powerless and defeated. But if you notice your thoughts, you can step back, assess the situation, and respond with clarity. You build mental flexibility. You develop the ability to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You create a mindset that does not break under pressure but adapts and grows stronger. Noticing your thoughts is the first step to becoming unstoppable in the face of life's challenges. There are practical ways to build this habit. One of the most effective methods is journaling. Writing down your thoughts every morning or evening allows you to observe them outside your head. It is easier to see patterns, identify negative thinking, and recognize areas where you need to shift your mindset. Another way is to set small reminders throughout the day to pause and check in with your mind. Ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Is this thought helping me move forward or holding me back? By doing this consistently, you create a mental discipline that strengthens over time. Noticing your thoughts also improves your decision-making. When your mind is cluttered with unhelpful thinking, you make choices from a place of fear or confusion. When your mind is clear and conscious, you make choices based on purpose and clarity. Every successful person you admire has mastered this. They are not free from negative thoughts, but they notice them, manage them, and act intentionally despite them. You can do the same. You can create a habit where your mind serves you instead of sabotaging you. Emotions are powerful, and thoughts drive emotion. By noticing your thoughts, you prevent yourself from being swept away by them. You see a thought arise, and you can decide, does this thought help me or hurt me? This is simple, yet it is life-changing. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You stop reacting to external circumstances and start creating your own internal state of strength. You become the observer and the creator at the same time. That is the essence of mindset control. This habit also enhances your relationship. When you notice your thoughts, you become aware of judgments, assumptions, and biases that often influence how you interact with others. You start responding with awareness rather than reacting unconsciously. You listen more, understand more, and communicate more effectively. Your relationships improve because you are not projecting negativity onto others. You are conscious of your own mind and how it shapes your interactions. The key to making this habit stick is consistency. You will not notice every thought perfectly at first. Your mind will wander, and that is normal. But every time you catch a thought, every time you pause and become aware, you strengthen your mental muscles. Over weeks and months, you build a mental environment that supports growth, confidence, and resilience. Your thoughts begin to shape your actions in a deliberate way. You stop being a victim of your own mind and start being the master of it. Noticing your thoughts is also a foundation for all other positive habits. You cannot exercise discipline, practice gratitude, or set meaningful goals if your mind is filled with negative or chaotic thinking. Awareness is the starting point. Once you build this habit, everything else becomes easy. Your focus sharpens, your motivation increases, and your ability to take consistent action improves. Your life begins to shift because your mindset shifts first. Pay attention to your mental environment. Just as you would not plant a garden and ignore the weeds, you cannot neglect your thought. If you allow unhelpful thinking to grow unchecked, it will take over your life. But if you notice it early, you can redirect your attention, nurture positive thinking, and create a mindset that serves you in 20. You are capable of change, and the power to change begins in this one habit. The beauty of this practice is that it is always available. You do not need money, status, or special tools. You can start right now. Sit quietly, pay attention to your thoughts, and simply notice them. Acknowledge them without judgment. Ask yourself if they are empowering or limiting. Choose which ones you will entertain and which ones you will discard. Do this repeatedly, and you begin to rewire your mind naturally. Remember that change does not happen overnight, but awareness is the spark that ignites it. Small, consistent efforts to notice and direct your thoughts compound over time. A single day of noticing your mind may not seem significant, but a year of consistent practice will transform the way you think, feel, and act. Your mindset, your resilience, your confidence, and your ability to achieve your goals are all connected to this habit. In the end, noticing your thoughts is about taking responsibility. It is about owning your inner world so that your outer world improves. You cannot control everything around you, but you can control your mind. When you make this your practice, you build a life where your decisions are conscious, your emotions are steady, and your actions are aligned with your goals. You create a year in 2020. It is practical, actionable, and life-changing. Every time you pause and notice a thought, you create space for better thinking. Every time you observe your mind, you build clarity. Every time you redirect unhelpful thinking, you strengthen your self-control. Your mind becomes your ally instead of your enemy. You begin to live with awareness, purpose, and focus. You begin to rewire your mindset for lasting success. The most important takeaway is this: your thoughts are not your reality, but they shape your reality. By noticing them, you gain the power to choose which thoughts to keep and which to release. This simple habit lays the foundation for every other habit, every achievement, and every positive change you want in your life. If 2026 is going to be different, it must start in your mind. Start noticing your thoughts today. Practice it every day, and watch how your mindset shifts. Watch how your energy, focus, and confidence grow. Watch how challenges become manageable and opportunities become visible. Watch how your life begins to reflect the power of your conscious thinking. Nothing else is more important than mastering this habit, because everything else flows from it. You are capable of extraordinary change when you start paying attention to your own mind. Noticing your thoughts is not just a habit, it is the gateway to self-mastery, personal growth, and mental freedom. It is where your journey toward a stronger, more resilient, and successful you begins. Make this the foundation of your life in 2020.
Chapter 2. Prioritize small wins to build confidence every day. Confidence is not something that appears overnight. It is not a gift that some people are born with while others are left to struggle. Confidence grows gradually, piece by piece, with each action you take and each decision you make. One of the most overlooked strategies for building confidence is the power of small wins. Small wins are the tiny actions, the simple steps, the manageable goals that you achieve consistently. They may seem insignificant at first, but they accumulate into a foundation of belief in yourself and your abilities. Every time you complete a small task successfully, your brain records it as evidence that you are capable. Over time, these small wins compound into an unshakable sense of confidence that influences every area of your life. Most people make the mistake of waiting for big opportunities to prove themselves. They believe that confidence will arrive once they accomplish a major goal or achieve a massive breakthrough. But life rarely works that way. Waiting for perfect conditions or monumental success keeps people stuck and frustrated. True confidence comes from repeated evidence that you can succeed in manageable, achievable ways. Every small win matters. Every task completed, every commitment honored, every tiny step forward reinforces the story you tell yourself about who you are. When you prioritize small wins, you begin to shape that story consciously. Start by breaking down your goals into smaller, actionable pieces. A large goal can feel overwhelming and paralyze you into inaction. But when you identify the smallest steps required to move forward, progress becomes achievable. Completing these smaller tasks generates a sense of accomplishment and momentum. It signals to your mind that you are capable and that your actions produce results. Momentum is critical because confidence grows when you see consistent progress. Every time you follow through on a small commitment, you reinforce your belief in your own abilities. Small wins are not just about achieving tasks, they are about creating a pattern of success in your life. Confidence is a habit, and habits are built through repetition. When you consistently prioritize actions that you can complete successfully, your mind begins to expect success rather than failure. You start each day with the belief that you can handle what comes your way, because you have a track record of small victories. Confidence does not come from imagining greatness, it comes from experiencing competence repeatedly and reliably. It is important to recognize that small wins are personal. They are not measured by how impressive they appear to others. One person's small win could be completing a workout, finishing a report, or making a phone call they have been avoiding. Another person's small win might be sticking to a new habit, organizing their workspace, or finishing a task they have been procrastinating on. The measure of a small win is not external validation. It is the internal recognition that you accomplished something meaningful and took action. Celebrating small wins is a crucial component of this habit. Take time to acknowledge and feel proud of what you have achieved, no matter how minor it may seem. Celebrating reinforces the connection between action and satisfaction. When your brain associates effort with positive feedback, you are more likely to continue taking deliberate steps toward your goals. Confidence builds when you consistently see that your efforts lead to tangible results. This creates a psychological loop where action fuels belief, belief fuels more action, and momentum grows naturally. Small wins also reduce the anxiety and stress that come with tackling large challenges. When you break big goals into smaller pieces, each piece becomes manageable. Your mind is not overwhelmed with the magnitude of the task. Instead, it can focus on the immediate step in front of you. This clarity of focus improves your performance and reduces self-doubt. By consistently achieving small wins, you prove to yourself that you can handle complexity gradually, one step at a time. Your confidence strengthens because you are continuously demonstrating to yourself that you are capable of handling challenges. Consistency is another key factor. One small win alone does not build confidence. It is the accumulation of repeated successes over time that reshapes your mindset. Each day offers opportunities to take action, to complete small tasks, and to prioritize steps that bring you closer to your goal. When you make small wins a daily habit, you create a framework for continuous improvement. Your mind begins to trust your capabilities because you consistently prove to yourself that you can succeed. Confidence becomes automatic, rooted in repeated positive experiences rather than fleeting emotions. Small wins also have a ripple effect in your life. Each tiny success builds momentum that influences other areas. When you accomplish one small goal, it inspires you to tackle another. When you prove to yourself that you can follow through, you develop courage to take on more significant challenges. This is how extraordinary results are built, not through a single grand effort, but through the steady accumulation of small, deliberate actions. Your confidence grows alongside your achievements, reinforcing the belief that you are capable of more than you initially imagined. It is essential to approach small wins strategically. Not every task contributes equally to your growth. Identify actions that matter and prioritize them. Focus on tasks that move you closer to meaningful goals, rather than busy work that only gives the illusion of productivity. When your small wins are aligned with your larger vision, each success strengthens your confidence in achieving your ultimate objective. Intentionality is critical because confidence grows not just from activity, but from purposeful activity that leads to results that matter. Notice the psychological impact of completing small wins. When you finish a task, your mind experiences a subtle but powerful release of satisfaction and accomplishment. This triggers positive reinforcement and motivates you to keep going. Even if the win seems trivial, the internal reward communicates to your brain that you are capable of success. Over time, these small successes build a mental foundation of competence. You begin to approach challenges with a sense of possibility rather than fear. Confidence becomes your default response rather than a rare experience. Small wins also help you overcome the fear of failure. Many people hesitate to act because they worry about making mistakes. When you focus on small, manageable steps, the risk feels lower, and the chance for immediate success increases. This encourages action and reduces procrastination. Each small success gradually erodes the fear of failure, because you accumulate evidence that you are capable. You learn through doing and build confidence as you progress. Your mind begins to trust that effort leads to results, which in turn reinforces courage and decisiveness. This habit transforms your relationship with your goals. Large goals can feel intimidating, but when you focus on small wins, the journey becomes manageable and motivating. Each completed task, each small achievement, becomes a building block toward larger accomplishment. Confidence grows because your mind sees progress and recognizes that you are capable of taking steps consistently. Success is no longer a distant dream. It becomes a tangible experience that you create day by day. Small wins also improve self-discipline. Confidence is not just about believing you can succeed. It is about following through consistently. Each small win requires action and commitment. By prioritizing small steps and seeing them through, you train yourself to follow through even when motivation fluctuates. Your brain begins to associate effort with reward, and this strengthens your ability to persist. Confidence and discipline grow together because repeated action reinforces the belief that you can trust yourself to do what you say you will do. Another important aspect of small wins is that they increase clarity. When you achieve small goals, you gain insight into what works and what does not. You learn about your own strengths, weaknesses, and patterns of behavior. This knowledge enhances your ability to plan, make decisions, and take meaningful action. Confidence grows because you are not guessing about your capabilities. You are learning from real, repeated experiences. You see that you can handle challenges and make progress consistent. Accountability enhances the power of small wins. Share your goals and progress with someone you trust. When you know someone is aware of your efforts, you are more likely to follow through. Each small win becomes a visible proof of your commitment. This external reinforcement complements your internal recognition and accelerates confidence building. Accountability magnifies the impact of small wins because it creates a sense of responsibility and pride in your achievements. Small wins are also a source of motivation. Large goals can feel distant and abstract, but small wins provide immediate feedback. Each completed step reminds you that you are moving forward. Motivation is fueled by progress, and confidence grows in tandem with visible results. When you prioritize small wins, you transform your daily life into a series of achievable successes that continuously reinforce your belief in yourself. The key is to make this a daily practice. Each morning, identify actions that can be completed in one day. Each evening, reflect on what you accomplished. Recognize every small win, internalize it, and carry it forward. By consistently focusing on small achievable actions, you build a cycle of success that strengthens your mindset and your confidence. The cumulative effect of daily wins is transformative. Ultimately, confidence is the result of repeated, deliberate, and consistent action. It is not something you wish for or hope for. It is something you build intentionally through small wins. When you prioritize these wins every day, you create evidence in your mind that you are capable, that your actions matter, and that you can handle bigger challenges. Your confidence grows naturally because it is rooted in real achievement. Every day offers the opportunity to act in ways that build confidence. It does not require extraordinary effort. It does not require perfect conditions. It requires attention to what matters, action on achievable tasks, and acknowledgement of each small victory. Over time, these small wins create a mental foundation, so strong that you approach life with certainty, courage, and resilience. You begin to believe in yourself, not because of external validation, but because you have proof in your own experience. The power of small wins is profound. When you focus on them, confidence grows quietly, steadily, and sustainably. It becomes part of your character rather than a fleeting emotion. Your mindset transforms, your energy improves, and your actions become more decisive. By prioritizing small wins, you set yourself up for meaningful achievements, greater resilience, and lasting self-belief in Every day is an opportunity to create proof of your ability to succeed. Each small win reinforces the belief that you can do more than you thought. Confidence is not luck or talent. It is the result of intentional, consistent effort. By focusing on small wins and making them a daily priority, you build momentum, self-trust, and a mindset that propels you forward, no matter the circumstance.
Chapter 3. Step outside comfort zones to grow stronger mentally. Growth begins at the edge of comfort. Every person has a zone where life feels safe, predictable, and easy. Inside this zone, there is comfort, and with comfort comes a sense of security. Yet comfort has a cost. When you remain in familiar routines and avoid challenges, your mind stagnates, your abilities plateau, your resilience remains weak. Mental strength is not built by staying comfortable. It is developed by confronting what makes you uneasy, what challenges your assumptions, and what pushes your limits. To grow stronger mentally, you must step outside your comfort zone consistently, deliberately, and with purpose. The first step in stepping beyond comfort is recognizing its boundaries. Most people underestimate how small their comfort zones are. These boundaries are often invisible because they are shaped by habit, fear, and routine. Your mind prefers familiarity because it conserves energy, but growth requires more energy, more effort, and more courage. Mental toughness develops when you willingly face situations that feel unfamiliar or uncomfortable. Each time you take action in a space where you feel unease, you are exercising a mental muscle that strengthens over time. Stepping outside your comfort zone begins with small, deliberate actions. You do not have to leap into extreme situations immediately. Growth is a process. Start with actions that challenge you just enough to feel nervous, unsure, or mildly anxious. This could be speaking up in a meeting, trying a new exercise routine, learning a new skill, or reaching out to someone you admire. These small steps create a feedback loop that teaches your mind that discomfort does not equal danger. Instead, it becomes an opportunity to expand your capabilities. Every minor act of courage strengthens your mental resilience and prepares you for bigger challenges. Mental growth requires facing fear directly. Fear is a natural response when you step into unfamiliar territory, but fear is not a signal to stop. Fear is information. It tells you that you are encountering something new that your mind is not accustomed to. When you step into fear, you expand your limits. Every time you act in spite of fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable. These victories are not always visible to the outside world, but they are transformative internally. Mental toughness is built silently, in moments where you decide to do what is uncomfortable rather than what is easy. Consistency is critical in stepping outside your comfort zone. Growth does not occur from a single courageous act. It comes from repeated exposure to challenges. By making discomfort a habit, you train your mind to tolerate uncertainty, adapt to change, and handle adversity. Each time you intentionally place yourself in situations that are unfamiliar or demanding, you reinforce a belief in your capacity to handle life's difficulties. Confidence and mental strength are not developed overnight, but they are built through persistent, deliberate practice outside your comfort zone. Stepping beyond comfort also reshapes your mindset about failure. Most people fear failure because they equate it with inadequacy, but stepping into discomfort teaches a different lesson. Failure is feedback, not a verdict. Every time you try something new and it does not go perfectly, you gain insight into how to improve. Your mind learns that mistakes are not catastrophic, they are part of the growth process. This understanding strengthens your resilience because you stop avoiding challenges and start approaching them with curiosity and determination. Mental growth thrives on this cycle of attempt, evaluation, and improvement. Stepping outside your comfort zone improves adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and the future rarely unfolds exactly as planned. People who remain inside their comfort zones are more likely to be rigid, stressed, or overwhelmed when faced with change. But those who regularly challenge themselves learn to adapt. They gain experience navigating uncertainty, making decisions under pressure, and handling unexpected situations. Each encounter with discomfort teaches your mind flexibility, problem-solving skills, and emotional regulation. Over time, your mental resilience becomes robust, allowing you to face life with calm and confidence rather than panic and hesitation. This practice also strengthens your decision-making ability. When you step into new situations, you are forced to assess risks, analyze information, and choose the best course of action. These experiences sharpen judgment because you are no longer relying solely on familiar patterns or comfort-driven instinct. Each successful navigation of discomfort reinforces your ability to trust your decisions. Your mind becomes more confident in handling complexity and uncertainty because you have accumulated evidence that you can perform under pressure. Stepping outside comfort zones teaches you to think clearly even when circumstances are unfamiliar or challenging. Another psychological benefit is the development of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief in your own ability to succeed. When you consistently confront discomfort and overcome it, you build evidence for yourself that you can achieve goals despite obstacles. Every new skill learned, every conversation initiated, every risk taken becomes proof of your competence. This proof compounds over time, creating a mindset that expects success rather than doubts it. Mental strength is inseparable from self-efficacy because your confidence in action grows from repeated demonstrations of ability. Growth outside your comfort zone also enhances creativity. When you expose yourself to new experiences, you encounter perspectives, challenges, and solutions you would never have discovered otherwise. The unfamiliar forces your mind to think differently, innovate, and creativity is not just a talent, it is a skill developed through repeated exposure to situations that require novel thinking. Each time you embrace discomfort, you expand your mental horizon, allowing your mind to generate ideas and solutions that were previously inaccessible. It is essential to embrace discomfort as a teacher rather than an enemy. Most people react to discomfort by avoiding it, seeking relief or rationalizing inaction. This avoidance slows growth and reinforces limitations.
But discomfort is where learning occurs. It shows you areas where you can improve, where your mind is weak, and where potential lies untapped. By approaching discomfort intentionally, you shift your perspective. You start seeing challenges as opportunities for improvement rather than threats. Each time you do this, you strengthen mental resilience, emotional stability, and your capacity to handle life confidently. Stepping outside comfort zones also builds emotional intelligence. When you encounter situations that feel unfamiliar, your emotions naturally fluctuate. You may feel fear, embarrassment, frustration, or uncertainty. By experiencing these emotions in controlled, deliberate ways, you learn to observe, regulate, and respond instead of react. Your mind develops the capacity to stay composed in pressure situations. Over time, you gain mastery over your emotional state, which is critical for mental strength, decision-making, and interpersonal effectiveness. Mental resilience is built not only by facing external challenges, but by learning to manage internal experiences effectively. A crucial aspect of this habit is deliberate planning. Stepping outside comfort zones does not mean acting recklessly or without purpose. It means identifying areas where growth is needed and taking calculated actions that challenge your current limit. Planning allows you to step into discomfort strategically, measure your progress, and adjust as needed. By approaching challenges with intention, you reduce unnecessary risk while maximizing opportunities for growth. Each planned act of courage reinforces your belief in your capabilities and strengthens your mental foundation. The process of stepping outside comfort zones also strengthens patience. Growth is rarely immediate. Your mind may resist new experiences, fear may arise repeatedly, and progress may feel slow. Yet persistence in the face of discomfort teaches patience. You learn to tolerate temporary discomfort for long-term gain. This patience is essential for mental strength because it allows you to endure setbacks, stay committed, and continue progressing even when results are not instantly visible. Each act of persistence reinforces your confidence and mental resilience. This habit also improves focus. When you deliberately challenge yourself, your attention sharpens, your mind becomes attuned to what matters, to the actions that will yield growth, and to the strategies that will lead to success. Distractions fall away because you are actively engaged in navigating the unknown. Mental clarity emerges from repeated exposure to challenges because your mind learns to prioritize, assess, and respond effectively. Each step outside comfort zones fine-tunes your mental capacity for focus, concentration, and deliberate action. Stepping outside comfort zones teaches humility and self-awareness. When you try new things, you encounter moments of struggle, mistakes, and limitations. These experiences are opportunities to understand your true abilities and gaps. By observing yourself honestly in these moments, you gain insight into your strength and areas for growth. Mental strength is not built through arrogance or ignoring limits. It is built through awareness, learning, and deliberate action. Each challenge faced outside comfort zones increases self-knowledge and empowers better decision-making. Another benefit is the creation of a growth mindset. When you consistently push boundaries, you internalize the belief that abilities and intelligence can improve with effort. You stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities. Your mindset shifts from fixed limitations to possibilities. Confidence, resilience, and adaptability grow naturally because your mind expects improvement rather than stagnation. Stepping into discomfort repeatedly rewires your mental approach to challenges, creating lasting psychological benefits. The habit also encourages courage in everyday life. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of fear. Every time you act outside comfort, you practice courage. Over time, this practice becomes automatic. You are no longer paralyzed by uncertainty or fear of judgment. Mental strength grows as you repeatedly prove to yourself that fear does not dictate action. Each act of courage compounds into a mindset that expects to face challenges successfully rather than avoiding them. Ultimately, stepping outside comfort zones is a deliberate commitment to mental growth. It is a choice to engage with challenges, embrace discomfort, and expand your limits. Each time you act despite hesitation, anxiety, or uncertainty, you create evidence of your capacity. Mental resilience is not theoretical. It is experiential. It is built in the moments where you push yourself, adapt to the unknown, and persist through discomfort. Your mindset strengthens with each encounter, making you more capable, confident, and prepared for life's challenges. Life rewards those who take action, even when it is uncomfortable. Growth is a result of consistent, deliberate steps beyond familiarity. The mind becomes stronger, the emotions more stable, and the confidence more reliable when you repeatedly step outside comfort zones. Every challenge you face intentionally today prepares you for greater achievements tomorrow. Mental strength is not built in ease. It is forged through deliberate engagement with the unknown, through repeated action, and through the willingness to embrace discomfort as a teacher. By committing to this habit, you create a life where growth is inevitable. Your mind becomes more resilient, your actions more deliberate, and your confidence more grounded in real experience. Each small act of courage compounds over time, building a psychological foundation that supports success in every area. Mental strength becomes your default response rather than a rare experience. You approach challenges knowing that discomfort is not the enemy, but the doorway to improvement.
Chapter 4. Observe your emotions to respond wisely, not react. Emotions are powerful signals, but they are not commands. They are immediate responses that give you information about how your mind and body are reacting to the world. Most people allow emotions to dictate their behavior without pause, and this is where mistakes and regrets are born. Reacting impulsively can create consequences that linger far longer than the moment itself. The difference between those who achieve personal growth and those who remain stuck often lies in the ability to observe emotions before responding. Observing your emotions is not about ignoring them or pretending they do not. It is about noticing them clearly, understanding their origin, and choosing a response that serves your long-term goals. Your emotions often arise from deep-seated patterns and past experiences. A situation may trigger anger, anxiety, or sadness, not because of what is happening now, but because it touches on unresolved memories, insecurities, or assumptions. By observing your emotional state, you can begin to separate the present reality from the mental narratives that exaggerate or distort it. You realize that your feelings, while real, are not always accurate reflections of the situation. Recognizing this distinction is critical because it allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react automatically. Observation begins with self-awareness. It requires you to slow down and pay attention to what is happening inside. Instead of immediately reacting to frustration or criticism, notice the physical sensations, the thoughts racing through your mind, and the impulses arising in your body. Are your muscles tensing? Is your breath shallow? Is your mind rushing to judgment? These indicators provide clues about your emotional state. They are the first signs that give you the opportunity to pause before acting. Each pause is a moment of empowerment because it shifts control from impulsivity to conscious decision-making. Emotions are designed to motivate action, but that does not mean the first impulse is always the right one. For example, fear may push you to retreat from a situation, but stepping back without assessment may lead to missed opportunities. Anger might push you to speak harshly, but expressing it without consideration can damage relationships and reputations. By observing your emotions, you create space between feeling and action. This space allows you to choose a response that aligns with your values, goals, the person you aspire to be.
Mental clarity emerges when you understand that feeling something intensely does not obligate you to act immediately. One effective way to strengthen this habit is to label your emotions as they arise. Naming what you feel, anger, frustration, anxiety or excitement, shifts the mind from reactivity to reflection. It is difficult to act destructively when you can articulate the emotion clearly. You acknowledge the experience without judgment and recognize that the emotion is a temporary state, not a permanent truth. Labeling emotions enhances self-control because it transforms instinctive reactions into conscious observation. Each time you identify what you are feeling, you reinforce the practice of responding with intention. Observing your emotions also builds emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand and manage your own emotions while navigating the emotions of others effectively. When you consistently notice your emotional responses, you become aware of triggers that lead to unhelpful behavior. You start to understand patterns, anticipate reactions, and prepare strategies to maintain composure. Emotional intelligence is not innate. It is cultivated through disciplined observation and thoughtful response. Each time you practice this, your interactions with others become more constructive, and your decisions become wiser. Your body often provides early signals that your emotions are escalating. Tight shoulders, a racing heart, shallow breathing, or tension in your jaw are all signs that your mind is reacting. By paying attention to these cues, you gain an early warning system that gives you the chance to intervene before your emotions take control. This practice strengthens resilience because you learn to regulate internal states instead of being swept away by them. Mental strength is reinforced when you consistently demonstrate to yourself that emotions do not have to dictate behavior. Emotional observation also improves problem solving. When you respond impulsively, your ability to think clearly diminishes. Anxiety and anger narrow your focus, and your decisions are clouded by reactivity. By observing emotions before acting, you create a mental environment where rational thinking can occur. You can assess the situation, consider consequences, and choose actions that are effective and strategic. Each decision made from clarity rather than reactivity builds confidence, strengthens judgment, and reinforces the habit of thoughtful response. Understanding the origin of your emotions is critical for growth. Most reactions are amplified by assumptions, expectations, or interpretations rather than objective reality. By pausing to analyze why a particular event provoked an emotional reaction, you gain insight into yourself. Perhaps irritation arises because someone challenged your beliefs. Perhaps anxiety surfaces because a situation threatens a deeply held value. This awareness allows you to separate your emotional triggers from the facts of the situation. When you can identify the true source of a feeling, you are less likely to react impulsively and more likely to respond constructively. Emotional observation encourages patience. Life constantly presents challenges that test your composure. When you notice your feelings and acknowledge them, you create a natural pause that allows patience to emerge. Patience is not simply waiting, it is waiting with awareness and clarity. Each time you allow this pause, you prevent impulsive actions that might have negative consequences. Mental fortitude is developed through repeated practice of responding calmly under pressure. The more you practice, the more your mind expects deliberate action rather than reactive behavior. Another benefit of observing your emotions is improved relationship. Most conflicts escalate because people react to emotional impulses without thinking. By noticing your emotions, you gain control over how you communicate. You can respond thoughtfully, avoid unnecessary confrontation, and address issues constructively. This practice not only protects your relationships, but strengthens your reputation as someone who is composed, reliable, and emotionally intelligent. Mental strength is demonstrated in how you manage interactions when stakes are high and emotions are intense. This habit also reduces stress. Reacting impulsively often creates ripple effects that amplify problems. Observing emotions allows you to manage your internal state and prevent unnecessary escalation. When your mind remains calm, your body experiences less tension, and your responses are more effective. Each time you manage your emotions successfully, you reinforce a sense of control over life circumstances. Confidence grows naturally because you are proving to yourself that challenges do not have to dominate your mind or dictate your actions. Observing emotions enhances decision-making. Impulsivity often leads to regret because choices are made under the influence of transient feelings. When you pause to notice what you are experiencing, you allow time for reasoning, reflection, and evaluation. You consider options more clearly, weigh consequences, and select responses aligned with your goals. Mental clarity and wisdom grow because your decisions are based on thoughtful assessment rather than immediate emotional reaction. Each conscious choice strengthens your confidence in handling future challenges effectively. It is important to practice this habit daily. Emotions arise constantly, and the mind will naturally resist observation. Each time you notice a feeling, without reacting immediately, you are reinforcing a powerful habit. Over time, observation becomes automatic. Your mind recognizes emotional patterns, anticipates reactions, and allows deliberate responses almost effortlessly. Mental resilience grows because your practice transforms instinctive reactions into conscious choices. Each day of awareness builds stronger control over your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Observation of emotions also fosters self-compassion. When you notice your emotional reactions without judgment, you stop criticizing yourself for feeling a certain way. You understand that emotions are natural, temporary, and signals for growth rather than evidence of failure. This self-compassion reduces internal conflict, increases clarity, and strengthens emotional stability. Mental strength is reinforced because you no longer waste energy resisting what you feel, and instead channel energy toward deliberate, effective action. Another practical strategy is reflective journaling. Writing about your emotions allows you to process experiences outside the immediate intensity of feeling. You gain insight into patterns, triggers, and tendencies that may not be obvious in the moment. Reflection transforms raw emotion into understanding and clarity. Each insight you gain from this practice enhances your capacity to respond wisely in the future. Mental strength is built on this cycle of observation, reflection, and deliberate response. Observation also enhances emotional regulation in high-pressure situations. When you encounter unexpected stress, disappointment, or conflict, your ability to respond calmly is a direct result of past practice. Observing emotion. Each time you pause, analyze, and respond intentionally, you strengthen neural pathways that support mental stability. Over time, your default reaction becomes thoughtful action rather than impulsive behavior. You begin to trust your mind to guide your responses instead of being ruled by transient feelings. This habit empowers you to take control of your life. When you are aware of your emotions and choose responses deliberately, you reclaim authority over your actions and outcome. Life feels less chaotic, more purposeful, and more manageable. Mental resilience develops because you are practicing mastery over your internal world, and mastery of your mind translates into mastery over your life. Each deliberate response reinforces your confidence in your ability to handle challenges effectively and consistently. By consistently observing emotions, you also strengthen intuition. When your mind is calm and aware, you can distinguish between reactive impulses and genuine insight. You learn to trust your judgment because it is informed by reflection rather than swayed by temporary emotional surges. Mental clarity, confidence, and strategic thinking grow naturally through this practice. You approach decisions with a deeper understanding of yourself and the situation, leading to better outcomes and reduced regret. Ultimately, observing your emotions is a habit of empowerment. It transforms how you experience life, interact with others, and respond to challenges. Each moment of awareness builds mental strength, emotional intelligence, and strategic thinking. Every deliberate pause strengthens your confidence, enhances your decision-making, and allows you to act with purpose. Life rewards those who respond wisely, rather than react impulsively. By committing to this practice, you develop a mindset that is steady, resilient, and capable of handling whatever comes your way. The power of this habit lies in its simplicity and consistency. You do not need external tools or special conditions. You only need attention, honesty, and the willingness to pause before acting. Each observation, reflection, and intentional response compounds over time. Your mental resilience grows, your relationships improve, your decisions become sharper, your confidence strengthens. This habit forms a foundation for every other area of personal growth because your ability to manage emotions under pressure shapes the quality of your actions and outcomes.
Chapter 5. Set clear intentions to guide your daily actions. Your life is shaped by the choices you make every day, yet too many people drift through life without a clear sense of direction. They move from task to task, reacting to circumstances, responding to other people's agendas, and leaving their own goals to chance. When you want to achieve meaningful progress, the starting point is setting clear intentions. Intentions are not vague wishes or fleeting desires. They are conscious commitments to act in a specific way, to prioritize what truly matters, and to direct your energy toward outcomes that align with your values and aspirations. Setting intentions gives your day structure, purpose, and momentum. It allows you to move through life with clarity rather than wandering aimlessly. Clear intentions create a sense of focus. When you wake up in the morning, your mind is flooded with thoughts, responsibilities, and potential distractions. Without intention, you are at the mercy of this chaos. By determining what matters most before you begin, you give yourself a map for the day. Intentions act like a compass, guiding your choices and actions. When you know exactly what you want to accomplish and why, decision-making becomes easier, and energy that would have been wasted is directed toward meaningful outcomes. This clarity strengthens confidence because your efforts are purposeful and measurable. The process of setting intentions begins with reflection. Take time to consider your goals, values, and priorities. Ask yourself what matters most in your life right now. Which actions will bring you closer to the person you want to become? What outcomes will create the most impact in your personal and professional life? Reflection ensures that your intentions are not arbitrary but grounded in self-awareness and purpose. Intentions anchored in understanding are far more motivating than those based on fleeting impulses or external pressure. They give your actions a sense of meaning that sustains effort over time. Intentions are most effective when they are specific and actionable. Instead of saying, "I want to be more productive," define exactly what that looks like. I will complete the top 3 tasks that bring the most value to my work before noon. When intentions are concrete, your brain can focus on execution rather than wandering aimlessly. Specificity also allows you to measure progress, celebrate accomplishments, and adjust your approach as needed. Clarity transforms vague desires into practical actions that produce results consistently. Daily intentions are not about overwhelming yourself with tasks.
They are about prioritizing the most important actions that align with your goals. Too many people confuse being busy with being productive. They fill their days with activity that may feel important, but does not move them toward their long-term objective. Setting clear intentions forces you to distinguish between what is urgent and what is truly valuable. You start each day with a purpose-driven plan, and every action is chosen deliberately rather than reactively. This habit rewires your mind to value focus over distraction and progress over motion. Intentions also shape your mindset. When you consciously decide how you want to act, think, and feel during the day, you create a mental framework that guides behavior. Your mind begins to anticipate challenges and opportunities because it understands what matters most. This preparation reduces stress and anxiety as you no longer feel like you are constantly reacting to the environment. Instead, you operate from a position of awareness and control. Mental clarity and emotional stability grow as you consistently set and follow through on clear intention. The practice of intention setting strengthens accountability. When you define your intentions, you establish a standard for your actions. Each decision, interaction, and task becomes an opportunity to align with your stated commitment. When you review your intentions at the end of the day, you can see where you succeeded and where you fell short. This honest evaluation allows continuous improvement. The more consistent you are in observing your intentions and measuring your progress, the more your mind internalizes discipline, focus, and responsibility for your own outcomes. Intentions are also deeply linked to motivation. Motivation fluctuates throughout the day, but clear intentions provide a guiding force that remains steady even when energy wanes. When your goals and intentions are aligned with your values, your actions feel meaningful, and your drive becomes intrinsic rather than dependent on external circumstances. Motivation grows naturally when you act intentionally, and the results of these actions reinforce confidence, persistence, and determination. The habit of setting intentions also improves time management. Life is filled with distractions, interruptions, and competing demands. Without clarity, your time is scattered and energy is depleted on low-priority activities. Intentions serve as a filter that helps you say no to unimportant tasks and yes to what matters most. Each intentional choice is a step toward efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity. Over time, your ability to manage your day intentionally leads to greater achievements, less wasted energy, and a stronger sense of control over your life. Clear intentions encourage proactive behavior. Most people wait for opportunities to appear or for circumstances to dictate their action. When you set intentions, you shift from reactive behavior to proactive engagement. You anticipate what needs to be done, make deliberate choices, and take ownership of your outcome. Proactivity builds confidence because you see tangible results from your actions, rather than waiting passively for external validation or luck. Mental resilience grows as you develop a habit of leading your own life intentionally. Intentions are a form of self-leadership. Each time you consciously decide how you will act, you practice directing your own mind and behavior. This reinforces the sense that you are in control of your life, capable of making decisions that shape your future. People who consistently set clear intentions develop a strong internal locus of control. They understand that their results are primarily determined by their choices and actions, rather than external forces. This mindset empowers action, reduces self-doubt, and increases persistence. Another key aspect of intention setting is reflection and adjustment. Intentions are not rigid, they are guides. At the end of each day, review your intentions honestly. Did you follow through on what mattered most? What worked well, and what could be improved? Reflection allows your intentions to evolve with circumstances, goals, and growth. This process ensures that you are continuously learning from experience, refining your focus and making progress intentionally. Mental strength grows as your ability to plan, execute, and adjust improves. Intentions also enhance decision-making under pressure. When challenges arise, a mind grounded in clear intentions can respond effectively rather than react impulsively. Knowing your priorities and goals allows you to filter options, weigh consequences, and make choices that align with your long-term vision. Each decision made intentionally reinforces self-confidence and reduces the influence of stress or emotion. Your mind becomes a tool for strategy rather than a reactive force swayed by circumstance. Setting intentions daily also creates a sense of purpose. Many people drift through life without clarity, performing tasks without understanding why they matter. Intentions connect your actions to outcomes, giving every effort meaning. Purpose strengthens focus, increases perseverance, and energizes your efforts. When you understand why you are doing something, even small tasks become powerful building blocks towards significant achievement. Mental clarity and motivation naturally increase because actions are tied to goals and values rather than random activity. Intentions can also strengthen emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. When you act with intention, you maintain a sense of stability even in challenging circumstances. Clear intentions allow you to respond thoughtfully rather than being derailed by frustration or disappointment. Each intentional action reinforces your ability to remain composed, focused, and effective under pressure. Mental strength is built when you consistently act according to conscious choice rather than emotional reaction. This habit also enhances long-term vision. Daily intentions are not just about immediate tasks, they are connected to larger goals and aspirations. When you prioritize actions aligned with your vision, you gradually build momentum toward meaningful achievements. Small intentional steps accumulate over time, transforming your life. Each day becomes an opportunity to reinforce the trajectory you desire. Mental clarity, focus, and confidence grow because progress is visible, deliberate, and measurable. Intentions also encourage mindfulness. When you consciously define your goals and actions, you are fully present in each moment. You observe what you are doing, why you are doing it, and how it contributes to your larger objectives. This presence reduces distractions, enhances learning, and strengthens engagement. Mental resilience grows because you are fully aware of your actions and can adjust them deliberately rather than acting unconsciously. Setting intentions fosters a sense of achievement. Each intentional action, completed, no matter how small, builds evidence that you are capable, disciplined, and effective. This accumulation of evidence reinforces confidence and strengthens your belief in your ability to create meaningful results. The habit of acknowledging accomplishments, even minor ones, maintains motivation and momentum. Mental strength is reinforced because progress becomes visible and measurable, and your mind associates effort with tangible outcomes. Intentions also create alignment. When your daily actions are guided by intentional choices, your behavior, thoughts, and values are in harmony. Alignment reduces internal conflict and stress, while increasing energy, focus, and clarity. You begin each day with a roadmap that ensures your efforts are consistent with your aspirations. Mental resilience is enhanced because your actions are purposeful, your mind is clear, and your results are predictable. Ultimately, setting clear intentions is a habit that transforms life. It moves you from passive existence to active creation. Each day becomes a deliberate act of designing the outcomes you desire. Mental clarity, focus, resilience, and confidence grow because your energy is directed intentionally rather than scattered randomly. Actions become consistent, decisions become effective, and progress becomes inevitable. Intentions are the anchor that gives your life structure, meaning, and momentum, ensuring that you live each day with purpose and direction. By committing to the practice of setting clear intentions, you cultivate a mind that is prepared, disciplined, and resilient. Every morning offers an opportunity to decide who you will be, what you will focus on, and how you will act. Each intentional choice reinforces your capacity to achieve goals, handle challenges, and navigate life with clarity and confidence. This habit lays the foundation for personal growth, achievement, and fulfillment.
Chapter 6. Focus on progress to reduce fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the most powerful forces that keeps people from living the life they want. It is an invisible barrier, often unnoticed until it stops action and growth. Many people spend more time worrying about failing than actually doing what they need to do to succeed. Fear paralyzes potential, slows decision-making, and prevents action. One of the most effective ways to overcome this fear is to focus on progress instead of perfection. Progress is measurable, achievable, and motivating. It shifts the mind from worrying about possible negative outcomes to appreciating the tangible steps you are taking toward your goals. Progress provides evidence that effort produces results. When people focus solely on the outcome, the mind magnifies the stakes and exaggerates the potential consequences of mistakes. This increases anxiety and hesitation. Focusing on progress, however, reframes the journey. You no longer evaluate yourself solely by whether you succeeded perfectly. You evaluate yourself by the steps you take consistently. Each step becomes proof that you are moving forward. This approach reduces fear because your attention shifts from an abstract failure to concrete evidence of advancement. Breaking goals into smaller, manageable steps is essential for progress. Large objectives often seem intimidating because they feel distant and overwhelming. When you break them into smaller actions, each completed step serves as a mini-success. These successes build confidence and create momentum. Your mind begins to associate effort with reward, and the fear of failure diminishes because you see that even small actions bring you closer to your desired results. Each small win reinforces belief in your ability to achieve, creating a positive cycle of growth. Consistency amplifies progress. Doing something small regularly has a more significant impact over time than sporadic, intense efforts. When you commit to daily actions that move you closer to your goals, progress becomes inevitable. The fear of failure weakens because you have a record of consistent effort. Your mind starts to trust the process instead of obsessing over hypothetical outcomes. Momentum grows naturally as each day adds evidence that you are capable of moving forward, no matter how slow the pace may seem. Progress also teaches perspective. When fear dominates, every mistake feels monumental, and setbacks appear catastrophic. By focusing on progress, you learn to view mistakes as minor bumps on a larger path. You start to recognize that each action, regardless of the immediate result, contributes to overall growth. This perspective reduces anxiety and increases resilience, because you understand that progress is cumulative and failure is temporary. Setbacks become lessons rather than proof of inadequacy. Tracking progress is a powerful tool. Recording your daily actions, improvements, or achievements allows you to see the forward movement clearly. Many people underestimate their progress because they forget the small steps they have taken. Journaling or tracking metrics creates visible evidence that you are advancing. When your progress is documented, fear of failure loses its power because your mind is reminded of your capabilities and the tangible results of your consistent efforts. Progress focuses attention on what is controllable. Fear of failure often arises from obsessing over outcomes that depend on circumstances beyond your control. By concentrating on actions you can take daily, you reclaim power. You cannot always control the final result, but you can control your effort, attitude, and choices. Focusing on progress shifts energy toward action instead of worry. This mindset builds mental strength because you are responding proactively rather than reacting to fear or uncertainty.
Reflection enhances progress. Regularly reviewing what you have done, identifying improvements, and adjusting strategies strengthens learning and builds confidence. When you reflect on progress, you notice patterns, strengths, and areas for development. This understanding reduces fear because you are no longer blindly moving forward, you are moving forward intelligently. Reflection ensures that each step contributes meaningfully to your growth, rather than being random or ineffective. Focusing on progress also cultivates patience. Many people fear failure because they expect immediate results. When results do not appear quickly, doubt and anxiety grow. By prioritizing consistent progress over perfection, you accept that meaningful achievements take time. Each completed action, no matter how small, is a building block. Patience grows because you understand that growth is gradual, cumulative, and inevitable with persistent effort. Fear loses power because you trust the process rather than demanding instant perfection. Celebrating progress is essential. Acknowledging even minor improvements reinforces motivation and confidence. Too often, people overlook their advancements because they are focused only on the end goal. Recognizing small wins reminds your mind that action produces results. Celebration strengthens the habit of progress by linking effort with positive emotions. Over time, this creates an internal feedback system that reduces fear, increases resilience, and reinforces a sense of competence. Progress shifts focus from comparison to personal growth. Many people fear failure because they measure themselves against others. Social comparison increases pressure and reduces confidence. By focusing on your own progress, you remove external benchmarks and instead evaluate your achievements relative to your previous self. This internal measurement empowers you because your advancement is within your control. Mental strength grows as you develop a habit of measuring success by personal improvement rather than by competing with others. The habit of focusing on progress encourages experimentation. When your goal is advancement rather than perfect results, you are more willing to try new approaches. Fear diminishes because mistakes are seen as feedback rather than as threats. Experimentation teaches flexibility, creativity, and resilience. Each attempt, regardless of the immediate outcome, contributes to overall growth. Over time, you accumulate experience that strengthens your ability to navigate challenges, make informed decisions, and respond confidently in uncertain situations. Focusing on progress strengthens discipline. Consistent action, even when motivation wanes, produces forward movement. When you concentrate on completing small, meaningful tasks each day, you build a structure of accountability and self-reliance. Discipline reduces fear because you know that effort consistently applied leads to improvement. Your mind becomes conditioned to trust your own actions, reinforcing confidence and reducing anxiety about potential failure. Progress enhances problem-solving skills. By breaking down challenges into incremental steps, you learn to analyze situations, adjust strategies, and respond effectively. Each step forward, whether successful or requiring adjustment, provides data that improves your ability to navigate obstacles. Fear of failure diminishes because your mind gains evidence that solutions exist and that you can identify and implement them. Mental agility grows as you develop the habit of focusing on actionable steps rather than fixating on uncertainty or potential mistakes. Focusing on progress also reduces self-criticism. Many people fear failure because they have harsh internal standards and judge themselves for every imperfection. When the emphasis shifts to measurable progress, self-criticism decreases. You recognize that each effort, even if imperfect, contributes to growth. The mind becomes more forgiving and resilient, allowing you to continue acting despite fear. Confidence strengthens because action is no longer contingent on flawless performance. Visualization of progress reinforces results. Mentally reviewing steps completed and imagining continued forward movement enhances motivation and reduces fear. Visualization links effort with tangible achievement, and strengthens belief in your capability. The mind begins to expect improvement and solution-focused thinking, reinforcing positive behavior. Over time, this practice rewires your perspective so that fear of failure loses relevance, replaced by anticipation of continued advancement. Focus on progress also strengthens adaptability. Life rarely goes according to plan, and fear often arises when outcomes are uncertain. By concentrating on incremental advancement, you learn to adjust methods, strategies, and approaches without becoming discouraged. Each adaptation is evidence of your ability to navigate challenges. The mind gains confidence because progress is not tied to perfection, but to persistent action, allowing you to respond effectively to changing circumstances. Mentorship and guidance can accelerate progress. Learning from those who have already navigated challenges reduces fear and shortens the learning curve. Observing their incremental steps, strategies, and mindset helps you understand that progress is achievable. You realize that failure is part of the process and not a permanent state. Each lesson observed reinforces the value of incremental improvement and builds confidence in your own abilities. Progress also strengthens resilience. Challenges, obstacles, and setbacks are inevitable. Focusing on incremental improvement allows you to navigate these difficulties without losing momentum. Each forward step is proof that you can overcome adversity. Fear of failure diminishes because your attention is anchored on what you can control, the actions you take, rather than worrying about outcomes beyond your influence. Mental toughness grows through repeated exposure to manageable challenges that contribute to consistent progress. Intentional tracking of progress encourages accountability. When you monitor each step you take toward your goals, you hold yourself responsible for consistent action. This accountability reduces fear because it provides evidence that you are capable of following through. Your mind becomes conditioned to trust your efforts and anticipate results from deliberate practice. Each record of progress strengthens confidence, focus, and persistence. Finally, progress fosters long-term perspective. Fear of failure often stems from focusing too heavily on immediate outcomes or potential mistakes. By concentrating on the journey and the steps taken, you develop a sense of direction and purpose. You understand that failure is temporary and progress is cumulative. Each step builds toward long-term achievement, reducing anxiety and increasing resilience. The mind shifts from a fear-based perspective to a growth-based perspective, reinforcing confidence and empowering action. Focusing on progress is a mindset, a habit, and a strategy. It shifts your attention from what could go wrong to what is being achieved. It transforms fear into motivation, hesitation into action, and doubt into confidence. Each step forward is a victory that compounds into momentum. Mental clarity, resilience, and self-belief grow naturally when you consistently prioritize progress over perfection. Life rewards those who act despite fear, learn from every step, and measure success by advancement rather than by immediate outcome. By committing to the practice of focusing on progress, you cultivate a mindset that expects forward movement. Fear of failure loses its power because you gain continuous evidence of your capability, persistence, and growth. Each day becomes an opportunity to move closer to your goals, refine your strategies, and strengthen your mental resilience. Progress replaces doubt with confidence, hesitation with action, and uncertainty with clarity. This habit lays a foundation for lasting achievement and personal transformation.
Chapter 7. Celebrate tiny achievements to reinforce positive behavior patterns. Most people overlook the small victories in life, believing that only major milestones deserve attention. Yet, the truth is that progress is built from small, consistent actions, and recognizing these steps is crucial for developing positive habits and a resilient mindset. Celebrating tiny achievements is not about indulging in complacency, it is about reinforcing behaviors that lead to lasting change.
Each small success strengthens motivation, builds confidence and signals to your brain that effort produces results. When you celebrate these incremental wins, you create a feedback loop that encourages repetition of positive behavior. Acknowledging small accomplishments begins with awareness. Many people complete meaningful actions, but fail to notice them. They rush from task to task without taking a moment to reflect on what they have achieved. By intentionally observing even minor progress, you validate your effort. This practice trains your mind to recognize that success is cumulative and that every step, no matter how small, contributes to a larger goal. Awareness alone increases satisfaction and motivation because you are consciously connecting effort with outcome. The act of celebration does not require grandeur. It can be as simple as acknowledging internally that you did something meaningful, writing down a small win in a journal, or sharing your progress with a supportive friend. The purpose is to make your brain aware that a positive action occurred. Each recognition reinforces neural pathways associated with productive behavior. Over time, this reinforcement strengthens habits, making it more natural to take action consistently. Your mind begins to associate effort with reward, creating a self-sustaining cycle of growth and achievement. Celebrating tiny wins also combats discouragement. Large goals can feel overwhelming and unattainable if progress is not visible. When you focus solely on the end result, it is easy to feel that your efforts are insignificant. Recognizing small achievements provides evidence that you are moving forward, even if the ultimate goal is distant. This perspective reduces frustration, maintains motivation, and keeps momentum alive. Progress becomes tangible rather than abstract, and fear of failure diminishes because each small step demonstrates capability and forward motion. The psychological impact of celebrating small wins is profound. It taps into the brain's reward system. Each acknowledgement releases positive feelings, increases motivation, and reinforces action. When your mind experiences these rewards, it learns to repeat behaviors that lead to success. This reinforcement strengthens self-discipline and encourages consistency. Over time, celebrating small achievements builds resilience because your brain is conditioned to value effort and progress, not just outcomes. Celebration also enhances self-confidence. Confidence is often built incrementally rather than in leaps. Each minor success provides evidence that you are capable, competent, and making meaningful progress. By recognizing these moments, you reinforce belief in your abilities and reduce self-doubt. Confidence grows naturally because your mind records proof of your accomplishment. This growing self-assurance fuels further action and makes challenging tasks feel achievable. Small victories become stepping stones to larger accomplishments. This habit strengthens focus. By taking time to notice what you have achieved, you become more attuned to your goals and priorities. Each celebration serves as a reminder of what actions are effective and worth repeating. This clarity enhances decision-making and directs energy toward tasks that matter most. You learn to differentiate between productive behaviors and distractions, reinforcing a pattern of consistent, goal-oriented action. Focus grows as each small achievement is recognized and valued. Celebrating minor wins also cultivates gratitude. Recognizing the effort you have invested and the progress made fosters appreciation for your journey. Gratitude shifts the mind from dissatisfaction and comparison to acknowledgement and presence. When you consistently celebrate small achievements, your mindset becomes more positive and your perception of challenges changes. Obstacles are viewed as opportunities to learn rather than as threats. Mental resilience increases because you focus on what is working rather than what is lacking. Reinforcing behavior through celebration builds momentum. Action often begets more action, and recognition amplifies this effect. Each small achievement becomes a signal to continue, creating a chain reaction that encourages persistent effort. Momentum reduces the likelihood of procrastination because your mind anticipates reward from action. Over time, this compounding effect produces significant results. Tiny achievements may appear minor individually, but together they accumulate into substantial progress and personal transformation. Celebrating small wins also reduces perfectionism. People often avoid action because they feel the outcome must be flawless. This mindset leads to stagnation, procrastination, and fear of failure. When you celebrate incremental progress, you train your mind to value effort over perfection. Each step forward becomes meaningful, regardless of minor errors or imperfections. The fear of not doing something perfectly diminishes because progress itself becomes the measure of success. This approach encourages risk-taking, experimentation. The habit of celebration strengthens motivation during challenging periods. There will be days when progress feels slow or obstacles appear overwhelming. Recognizing even minor successes in such moments maintains morale and reinforces perseverance. Small wins act as reminders that effort is never wasted, and each action contributes to long-term growth. Motivation remains steady because your mind is conditioned to reward itself for effort, regardless of the immediate magnitude of the result. Celebrating small victories also improves emotional regulation. Acknowledging accomplishments activates positive emotions that counteract stress, frustration, or self-criticism. These positive feelings help stabilize mood, enhance clarity, and support better decision-making. By regularly celebrating achievements, you create an internal emotional environment that promotes resilience and reduces vulnerability to discouragement. Mental strength is reinforced because you learn to cultivate positivity in response to effort, rather than external outcomes alone. Small celebrations strengthen consistency. Habits are formed by repetition, and recognizing each step increases the likelihood of repeating productive behavior. Your mind learns that effort produces reward, which motivates ongoing action. This reinforcement reduces the mental resistance that often arises during habit formation. Over time, consistency becomes automatic because your brain has been trained to associate effort with satisfaction. Each acknowledged achievement is a brick in the foundation of lasting habit. Celebration also encourages reflection and learning. Recognizing a small win allows you to analyze what contributed to success, which actions worked well, which strategies were effective. Reflection ensures that progress is not accidental, but intentional. You reinforce effective patterns while adjusting less productive ones. Mental clarity grows because each celebration becomes an opportunity to understand your process and refine your approach. Growth becomes deliberate rather than haphazard. Acknowledging minor victories fosters accountability. When you track and celebrate small achievements, you create a system of self-monitoring. You take responsibility for progress and reinforce your commitment to goals. Accountability strengthens mental discipline because your mind begins to expect follow-through. Over time, this practice enhances focus, reliability, and self-trust, all of which are critical for sustaining momentum and overcoming fear of failure. Celebrating small wins also enhances creativity and problem-solving. Recognizing progress encourages exploration and experimentation because the mind is rewarded for action. Each small success signals that effort produces results, which reduces fear and encourages innovative thinking. You become more willing to try new approaches, take calculated risks, and explore solutions that may have previously felt too daunting. Mental flexibility increases as you learn that even imperfect action produces positive reinforcement and opportunity. This habit strengthens patience. Growth is rarely immediate, and results often take time to manifest. Celebrating incremental achievements teaches you to value the journey rather than just the destination. Each recognition reinforces the understanding that meaningful progress accumulates slowly but steadily. Patience grows naturally because your mind observes proof that consistent effort produces results over time. Fear of delayed outcomes diminishes, and perseverance becomes easier. Celebrating small achievements also builds resilience in the face of setbacks. When progress is acknowledged, minor failures do not feel catastrophic. You learn to view challenges as part of the process, rather than as indicators of inadequacy. Resilience grows because your mind has a record of accomplishments that can be recalled in difficult moments. You gain confidence in your ability to continue moving forward, reinforcing mental toughness and determination. The practice of celebration strengthens self-belief. Each small achievement provides evidence of your capability and reinforces the belief that you can influence outcomes through consistent effort. Self-confidence builds cumulatively as your mind recognizes repeated instances of success, no matter how minor. This internal validation reduces dependence on external approval, making your motivation more reliable and sustainable. Mental strength increases because your confidence is grounded in demonstrated capability rather than wishful thinking. Celebration encourages engagement. When progress is recognized, it increases investment in the process, making tasks feel more meaningful. This engagement improves focus, attention, and effort, which further enhances results. A mind that feels rewarded for effort is more likely to continue acting intentionally and persistent. Over time, this creates a strong feedback loop where recognition drives action, action produces results, and results reinforce recognition. By consistently celebrating tiny achievements, you cultivate a mindset that values effort, learning, and growth. You shift from fearing failure to appreciating progress. The mind begins to anticipate reward from action, which reduces hesitation and increases initiative. Each small win strengthens habits, builds confidence, enhances motivation, and supports emotional stability. Incremental recognition becomes a cornerstone for long-term achievement and personal transformation. Celebrating small wins creates momentum that compounds. Each acknowledgement, no matter how minor, adds energy, confidence, and motivation to the next action. This cumulative effect produces substantial results over time. Large accomplishments become the natural outcome of consistent, reinforced effort. Mental resilience grows as the mind learns to expect success through deliberate practice and recognizes the value of persistence. Fear of failure diminishes because progress, not perfection, becomes the measure of achievement. Ultimately, celebrating tiny achievements is a strategic habit that transforms effort into lasting growth. It provides motivation, reinforces behavior, strengthens confidence, and enhances resilience. By recognizing each step forward, you train your mind to value persistence, reward effort, and maintain focus on meaningful action. Progress becomes visible, growth becomes sustainable, and fear of failure diminishes because your mind is constantly reminded that action leads to achievement. Each small celebration compounds into a mindset capable of sustained success, personal development, and consistent transformation.
Chapter 8. Ask better questions to uncover deeper personal insights. The questions you ask yourself shape the life you lead more than almost anything else. Most people go through life asking surface-level questions, the ones that keep them stuck, uncertain, or unfulfilled. Why is this happening to me? Why can't I succeed? Why do I feel stuck? These questions sound natural, but they limit growth because they focus on blame, limitation, and external circumstances. To uncover deeper personal insights, to truly understand yourself, you need to ask better, more meaningful questions. The right questions open doors to clarity, self-awareness, and actionable understanding. They are the starting point for transformation because they guide your mind towards solutions, reflection, and understanding rather than frustration and doubt. Asking better questions begins with curiosity. Treat yourself as a subject worth studying. Approach your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and choices with genuine interest rather than judgment. When challenges arise, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I respond differently next time?" This small shift in questioning changes everything. It moves your mind from a passive reaction to an active search for insight. Curiosity allows you to observe patterns in your behavior, recognize blind spots, and discover opportunities for growth that you may have overlooked.
Better questions dig beneath the surface of habitual thinking. Many of our beliefs and behaviors operate automatically, driven by unconscious patterns. When you ask insightful questions, you force your mind to pause, reflect, and examine why you act the way you do. Questions like, what am I assuming about this situation that may not be true? Or what underlying need is influencing my choices? Prompt deeper understanding. They help uncover the roots of emotions, reactions, and decisions that often go unnoticed. Awareness of these roots is the first step toward meaningful change, because you cannot fix what you do not understand. Asking better questions also promotes accountability. When you inquire what part of this outcome is within my control, or what actions can I take today to move forward, you direct attention to your own agency. You stop blaming external circumstances or other people and focus on what you can do to influence your life. This shift reduces feelings of helplessness and increases empowerment. When you repeatedly ask questions that direct attention to action, your mind naturally starts to seek solutions rather than dwell on problems. The habit of asking insightful questions strengthens decision-making. Life presents countless choices, and clarity is often lacking because we fail to examine situations deeply. Questions like, what are the potential consequences of this choice? Or which option aligns most with my long-term goals? Guide thoughtful analysis. They ensure that decisions are deliberate, intentional, and aligned with your values. Each time you ask better questions, you build a mental framework that encourages strategic thinking and reduces the likelihood of impulsive or regretful choices. Self-awareness grows through intentional questioning. When you ask, what emotions am I feeling right now, or why did I respond that way, you engage with your inner world in a meaningful way. This process helps identify triggers, habitual reactions, and patterns that may be holding you back. Emotional insight allows you to respond rather than react, choose behaviors that serve your goals, and cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself. The better you understand yourself, the more control you have over your life and the outcomes you create. Better questions foster problem-solving skills. Instead of asking, why is this so difficult, you can ask, what is one practical step I can take right now to improve this situation? Or how can I approach this from a new perspective? These types of questions shift the mind from frustration and stagnation to solution-oriented thinking. They encourage creativity, adaptability, and resourcefulness. By training yourself to ask actionable questions, you build the habit of finding paths forward, even in challenging circumstances. Asking better questions improves focus. Many people feel overwhelmed because their attention is scattered across problems, worries, and distractions. Questions like, what is the most important thing I can do today, or which action will create the most impact? Direct attention to high-priority tasks. This focus allows you to act deliberately and reduces mental fatigue caused by attempting to address everything at once. Over time, asking focused questions sharpens mental clarity, enhances productivity, and increases confidence in your ability to manage priority effectively. Better questions also reveal personal values. When you inquire, why does this matter to me, or what outcome aligns with who I want to become, you clarify what truly drives you. Values often operate unconsciously, and many decisions are made based on habit, expectation, or external pressure. Asking reflective questions brings values to the forefront, allowing you to make choices that are consistent with your authentic self. Alignment between values and action creates satisfaction, purpose, and sustained motivation. Questions can also uncover limiting beliefs. Many fears and self-imposed restrictions originate from assumptions that are never questioned. Asking, is this belief actually true, or what evidence do I have that this is possible, challenges mental barriers. Questioning beliefs allows you to replace outdated, negative, or inaccurate assumptions with empowering, realistic perspectives. This process expands possibilities, reduces self-doubt, and fosters a mindset that embraces growth, learning, and action. The habit of asking better questions develops critical thinking. Life presents complex situations, and superficial inquiry leads to shallow understanding and poor decisions. By routinely asking, what are the potential outcomes of this approach, or what am I missing, you train your mind to analyze situations deeply, consider alternatives, and anticipate consequences. Critical thinking enhances problem solving, reduces mistakes, and allows for strategic action. Each insightful question strengthens your ability to navigate uncertainty and complexity with confidence. Self-reflection improves when questions are directed inward. Questions like, how did I contribute to this result? Or what can I do differently next time? Encourage honesty, responsibility, and learning. Self-reflection based on thoughtful inquiry produces deeper insight than passive observation alone. It strengthens mental discipline because you learn to examine actions without defensiveness. Over time, self-reflection guided by strong questions cultivates wisdom, emotional maturity, and the capacity to respond effectively to challenges. Better questions improve learning and growth. Instead of assuming understanding, ask, what else can I learn from this? Or what resources or knowledge would improve my ability to succeed? Inquiry fosters curiosity, continuous development, and an openness to feedback. When you embrace learning as a process guided by questions, your mind remains flexible, resilient, and prepared for new opportunity. Each question becomes a stepping stone toward greater capability, understanding, and insight. Insightful questioning also enhances relationships. By asking yourself, how do my words or actions impact others, or what can I do to understand this person better, you develop empathy and awareness. Better personal insight improves communication, reduces conflict, and strengthens connections. Asking reflective questions ensures that your behavior aligns with both personal goals and relational harmony, creating healthier, more productive interaction. The habit of asking better questions fosters resilience in uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and fear often arises from not knowing how to respond. Questions like, what can I control in this situation? Or what is one action I can take right now? Focus attention on actionable steps rather than imagined problems. This approach reduces anxiety, strengthens confidence, and provides clarity even in complex or stressful circumstances. Each question guides the mind towards solutions, reducing the paralyzing effects of fear. Better questions increase accountability in goal achievement. When you ask, what specific action will I take today to move toward my goal, or how will I measure progress this week? You create a framework for self-management. Accountability reinforces follow-through and ensures that effort translates into results. The mind becomes disciplined, focused, and results-oriented, reducing wasted energy and reinforcing confidence in your ability to succeed. Asking better questions also builds emotional intelligence. By exploring internal states with inquiries like, why do I feel this way? Or what underlying need is influencing my reaction? You increase self-awareness, empathy, and regulation. Emotional intelligence is strengthened because you understand your motivations, triggers, and patterns. This insight allows you to respond to challenges and relationships thoughtfully rather than reactively. Mental resilience and relational effectiveness grow simultaneously. The practice of questioning enhances problem anticipation. Instead of waiting for issues to arise, ask, what potential obstacles could occur, or how can I prepare for challenges in advance? Anticipatory questioning equips you with solutions before problems escalate. Each inquiry develops foresight, planning ability, and strategic thinking. This habit strengthens confidence and reduces fear because your mind expects and prepares for obstacles rather than being surprised by them. Questions also reveal personal strength. Asking, what am I doing well, or which abilities contributed to this success, highlights capabilities often overlooked. Recognizing strengths reinforces confidence, motivation, and the likelihood of repeating effective behaviors. Celebrating and leveraging these strengths improves performance, decision-making, and self-belief. The more you identify and utilize your capabilities, the more empowered and capable you become. Finally, asking better questions transforms minds. The quality of the questions you ask yourself determines whether you approach life from a place of fear, limitation, or curiosity, growth, and possibility. Thoughtful inquiry encourages introspection, learning, and action. Your mind becomes oriented towards solutions, progress, and self-understanding. Fear diminishes, confidence increases, and your capacity to navigate life effectively grows exponentially. By committing to the practice of asking better questions, you cultivate a mindset that prioritizes understanding, learning, and conscious action. Each question uncovers deeper personal insights, strengthens clarity, and empowers intentional decision-making. This habit encourages reflection, accountability, and growth, while reducing fear, doubt, and indecision. Life becomes navigable, challenges become manageable, and your ability to create meaningful outcomes expands dramatically. Each day becomes an opportunity to explore, understand, and improve through the transformative power of thoughtful inquiry.
Chapter 9. Disconnect from distractions to sharpen focus and clarity. Distractions are everywhere. They invade your mind, steal your energy, and silently sabotage progress. Most people believe they can multitask and handle interruptions, but in reality, every distraction fragments attention and reduces effectiveness. The mind is not designed to operate efficiently while constantly switching focus. The quality of your results is directly tied to the clarity of your attention. To achieve meaningful growth, to act intentionally, and to reach your full potential, you must learn to disconnect from distractions. This is not simply turning off devices. It is a deliberate, disciplined practice of controlling where your attention goes and protecting your mental space. Disconnection begins with awareness. The first step is identifying what distracts you most. Some distractions are obvious: social media, unnecessary notifications, constant email checking. Others are subtler: mental chatter, habitual worries, or unproductive thoughts. Understanding these distractions allows you to take control of your mind instead of being driven by habit. Once identified, each distraction can be managed, minimized, or eliminated, freeing mental space for focus, creativity, and productive action. Awareness itself strengthens the mind because it interrupts automatic patterns that steal energy and productivity. Clarity emerges when you choose what deserves attention. Attention is a finite resource, and where you invest it shapes your life. Every moment spent on unimportant or unproductive stimuli is a moment lost from meaningful action. Disconnecting from distractions allows you to prioritize tasks, ideas, and actions that align with your values and goals. When attention is intentional, thinking becomes sharper, decision-making improves, and productivity accelerates. The mind begins to operate as a tool of focus rather than a reactive agent tossed around by external stimuli. Physical environment plays a critical role in managing distractions. A cluttered space invites fragmented attention, while a clean and organized environment promotes focus. Removing unnecessary objects, notifications, and interruptions signals to your brain that only relevant tasks deserve attention. The environment supports discipline, reduces cognitive load, and allows for deeper engagement with important work. Small adjustments in your surroundings can yield significant gains in clarity and efficiency. Time management is another essential component. Distractions often hijack your schedule, leaving critical tasks unfinished. By allocating specific blocks of time for focused work,
you protect your mind from interruptions. During these periods, resist the urge to check phones, messages, or unrelated tasks. Dedicated focus time trains the mind to engage deeply with complex or meaningful work. Over time, this practice strengthens concentration, enhances productivity, and reduces the mental fatigue caused by constant task switching. Disconnection also involves managing digital consumption. The average person spends hours each day on devices with minimal awareness of the impact on focus. Social media, news alerts, and messaging apps compete for attention relentlessly. Choosing to disconnect, turn off notifications, or limit screen time allows your mind to breathe. You regain control of your thoughts, increase the quality of engagement with meaningful work, and reclaim energy lost to constant stimulation. This practice strengthens self-discipline and mental resilience. Mental clarity is reinforced through solitude. When you intentionally create moments without external input, your mind can process ideas, reflect, and generate solutions. Many people fear silence or empty time because it exposes internal thoughts, but these moments are essential for self-awareness and insight. Solitude allows reflection on priorities, examination of personal goals, and mental organization. Disconnecting from external noise creates a space for internal clarity, strengthening decision-making and strategic thinking. Focus improves when you reduce multitasking. Human brains are not designed for simultaneous attention on multiple complex tasks. Each switch between tasks requires cognitive effort and diminishes performance. By disconnecting from non-essential activities, you enable deep engagement with one task at a time. Single-minded attention produces higher quality work, faster results, and a greater sense of accomplishment. The mind becomes more efficient because energy is not wasted navigating competing demands. Intentional breaks enhance the effectiveness of disconnection. Focus is strengthened when periods of concentrated work are followed by short rests. These intervals prevent mental fatigue and allow the mind to recharge. During breaks, step away from devices, notifications, and obligations. Engage in restorative activities such as walking, stretching, or breathing exercises. The combination of disconnection and restoration creates a rhythm that maximizes mental performance and preserves clarity over long periods. Prioritization is essential when disconnecting. Not every task, communication, or request deserves immediate attention. Learning to identify what is essential versus what is trivial allows you to allocate focus strategically. When non-essential stimuli are consciously ignored or deferred, your mental energy remains directed toward meaningful goals. This discipline cultivates a habit of intention, reducing scattered attention and increasing the effectiveness of every action. Disconnection also strengthens emotional regulation. Constant exposure to external noise, opinions, and interruptions increases stress, anxiety, and reactive behavior. By controlling what you allow into your mental space, you reduce overwhelm and create emotional stability. A focused mind is less susceptible to impulsive reactions, gossip, and unnecessary worry. Emotional energy is preserved for productive action, reflection, and relationship management. Creating boundaries is a critical aspect of disconnect. Communicate limits to others, allocate specific times for checking communication, and honor those boundaries yourself. Boundaries prevent external demands from hijacking focus and protect mental clarity. They reinforce the understanding that your time and attention are valuable, creating space for intentional actions, problem solving, and meaningful engagement. Disconnection encourages mindfulness. When distractions are minimized, you can engage fully in the present moment. Attention shifts from scattered thoughts to deliberate observation of tasks, people and environments. Mindfulness strengthens clarity, enhances decision-making, and reduces mental noise. It allows the mind to focus on solutions rather than reacting impulsively to distractions, increasing efficiency and overall mental well-being. The habit of disconnection develops self-discipline. Initially, disconnecting may feel uncomfortable because the mind craves stimulation and habituated engagement with external input. Over time, repeated practice builds self-control, strengthens attention, and trains the brain to tolerate and even enjoy focused solitude. Discipline gained through intentional disconnection enhances productivity, self-confidence, and resilience in managing complex demands. Disconnection amplifies creativity. When the mind is free from constant interruptions, it has the space to form connections, explore new ideas, and generate innovative solutions. Creative insights rarely emerge in chaos. They require clarity and undistracted attention. By limiting distractions, you provide mental room for imagination, strategic thinking, and problem-solving. The mind becomes a powerful tool for creation, exploration, and meaningful achievement. Reducing distractions also improves learning and retention. Studies show that multitasking and constant interruption reduce comprehension and memory. Focusing attention on one task at a time enhances understanding, recall, and application. Disconnecting from unnecessary stimuli ensures that energy is allocated to absorbing information effectively, producing better results in work, study, or skill development. Mental capacity is optimized, and knowledge retention becomes stronger. Intentional disconnection supports long-term vision. Daily distractions may seem small, but their cumulative effect diminishes progress toward meaningful goals. By protecting your attention consistently, you ensure that effort is directed toward high-value activities. Focused action compounds over time, producing substantial growth and achievement. Each moment of disconnection is an investment in clarity, capability, and long-term success. Disconnection also improves personal relationships. When your attention is fully present during conversations, interactions are more meaningful and effective. Constant distractions prevent deep engagement, weaken empathy, and reduce influence. By setting aside interruptions and being fully attentive, relationships strengthen, communication becomes clearer, trust grows, and collaboration improves. Focused presence is a gift to both yourself and others. The practice of disconnection enhances self-awareness. Without constant external input, you notice thoughts, feelings, and behavioral patterns more clearly. Insight emerges about what drives decisions, reactions, and habits. Awareness allows for intentional change rather than reactive behavior. Self-knowledge strengthens decision-making, emotional regulation, and alignment with personal goals. The mind becomes a conscious instrument rather than an automatic responder. Disconnection encourages resilience in an overstimulated world. Continuous exposure to noise, opinions, and stimuli increases stress and mental fatigue. When you control input, you reduce cognitive overload, allowing for more effective problem-solving and emotional stability. Your mind becomes capable of sustaining focus under pressure, adapting to challenges, and navigating complexity without being overwhelmed by external demands. Accountability is reinforced through disconnection. By limiting distractions, you create space to follow through on priority. Progress is no longer hindered by interruptions, and outcomes become more predictable. The habit of protecting focus enhances responsibility, self-trust, and the ability to deliver results consistently. Your mind learns that effort and attention are controllable, producing confidence and reliability. Disconnection strengthens motivation. A focused mind recognizes progress more clearly, experiences less frustration, and perceives the value of effort. Motivation grows because the mind sees the connection between intentional action and tangible results. When distractions are minimized, energy is directed toward what truly matters, producing a sense of purpose, accomplishment, and forward momentum. Finally, disconnecting from distractions transforms your relationship with time and attention. Each moment spent intentionally focused builds momentum, clarity, and capability. The mind becomes more efficient, calm, and capable of deep work. Mental clarity, productivity, creativity, and resilience increase dramatically when distractions are minimized and attention is guarded. Life becomes navigable, purposeful, and meaningful because focus is no longer scattered but concentrated on what truly matters. By committing to the practice of disconnection, you cultivate a mind that values clarity, efficiency, and intentional action. Each day becomes an opportunity to focus deeply, think strategically, and act with purpose. Mental energy is preserved for meaningful challenges. Distractions no longer hijack time, and progress becomes visible and inevitable. Focus becomes a habit, clarity becomes a constant companion, and the ability to achieve meaningful goals is enhanced exponentially. Each deliberate act of disconnection is a step toward mastery over attention, productivity, and personal growth.
Chapter 10. Act immediately on ideas to build unstoppable momentum. Ideas are only as powerful as the action that follows them. Too often, people have brilliant thoughts, exciting plans, and creative solutions, yet they sit idle, waiting for the perfect time, the ideal conditions, or more confidence. The truth is that ideas without action are meaningless. Momentum does not come from thinking, it comes from doing. Each moment you delay, you lose energy, clarity, and opportunity. Acting immediately transforms potential into reality and builds a rhythm that carries you forward effortlessly. Momentum is not an abstract concept. It is the cumulative result of repeated action, the energy generated by consistent steps, and the confidence that grows from seeing results materialize. The moment an idea enters your mind, it carries potential energy. That spark is your opportunity to shape your future, create change, and solve problems. Hesitation converts this potential into doubt and regret. The mind begins to question, overanalyze, or worry about failure. Action eliminates uncertainty by moving the idea into motion. Even small steps taken immediately demonstrate commitment, activate problem solving, and generate feedback that guides improvement. Immediate action transforms a mental concept into a living, evolving project that gains strength with every subsequent step. Procrastination is the enemy of momentum. Every delay, rationalized or unconscious, diminishes energy and reduces clarity. Waiting for perfect conditions is an illusion because conditions are rarely ideal. Real progress emerges when you act with what you have, where you are, and with the resources available. Acting now creates a feedback loop. Effort generates insight. Insight guides adjustment, and adjustment strengthens action. Momentum grows because each step forward produces visible evidence that progress is happening. Immediate action strengthens confidence. Doubt arises when ideas remain untested, leaving the mind vulnerable to fear and second-guessing. Taking action provides evidence that you can execute, overcome challenges, and generate results. Confidence is built through experience, not contemplation. The more you act, the more your mind trusts your ability to handle challenges. Each action, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you are capable of creating outcomes rather than being at the mercy of circumstances. Acting promptly also clarifies priorities. Ideas often come with a flood of possibilities, each vying for attention. When you take immediate action on one, you commit focus and energy to what matters most.
The clarity that emerges is invaluable because it prevents scattered effort and wasted time. The mind begins to filter distractions naturally, prioritizing tasks that move you closer to results. Focus and momentum feed each other as action demonstrates value and consequence. Immediate action reduces fear. Most hesitation stems from imagining negative outcomes, anticipating mistakes, or predicting failure. Action grounds these abstract fears in reality. When you act, you confront challenges, gather information, and adjust as needed. Fear diminishes because you are engaging with the process rather than being paralyzed by what might happen. Momentum develops because confidence replaces uncertainty and the mind begins to anticipate progress rather than dread inaction. Action generates feedback. Ideas, no matter how brilliant, must be tested in the real world to understand their impact. Immediate steps produce results that inform next actions, refine strategies, and reveal what works. Waiting delays learning, limits growth, and keeps the mind trapped in speculation. Every action, even if imperfect, produces insight that sharpens judgment, improves efficiency, and enhances decision-making. Momentum accelerates because each informed step builds on the last, creating a chain of progress. The habit of acting immediately fosters discipline. Willpower alone is insufficient for sustained achievement. Discipline is built through repeated practice, and immediate action strengthens the connection between thought and execution. When you respond promptly to ideas, you reinforce self-trust, reliability, and the ability to follow through. Over time, this habit creates a mental framework where opportunity is seized quickly, decisions are implemented effectively, and momentum becomes inevitable. Action strengthens resilience. Not every idea will succeed instantly, and challenges are inevitable. Acting immediately exposes you to results, feedback, and obstacles early, allowing for adjustments before problems compound. Early engagement reduces the risk of stagnation and builds mental toughness. You learn to handle setbacks constructively because action produces tangible experience rather than hypothetical fear. Momentum grows as you navigate challenges with agility, confidence, and persistence. Immediate action promotes creativity. Ideas are often interconnected, and moving on one can inspire new insights. Action stimulates thinking, triggers innovation, and produces solutions that contemplation alone cannot generate. The mind becomes engaged in a cycle of exploration and execution, where each action inspires further ideas. Momentum strengthens because creativity and implementation feed each other, generating energy, excitement, and rapid progress. Small steps taken immediately create compounding results. Each action, no matter how minor, contributes to forward motion. Momentum is built gradually, but compounds quickly. By acting now, you start a ripple effect, where progress, confidence, and insight accumulate. Waiting for perfection or ideal conditions slows the compounding process, delaying results. Immediate action accelerates the cycle, turning potential into measurable outcomes faster and more reliably. Acting promptly also strengthens decision-making. The longer an idea sits untested, the more uncertainty and doubt accumulate. Immediate action converts uncertainty into experience. Each choice made and action taken produces data that informs subsequent decisions. Over time, your mind becomes skilled at assessing risks, evaluating options, and responding effectively. Momentum develops because decisions are not stalled by hesitation, but are reinforced through action and feedback. Immediate action increases accountability. When you commit to executing an idea without delay, you demonstrate responsibility to yourself and others. Accountability reinforces follow-through and ensures that ideas move beyond theory. The habit of acting promptly builds reliability, strengthens discipline, and cultivates a track record of results. Momentum grows naturally because the mind expects action, and consistent delivery builds confidence in capabilities. Acting immediately enhances focus. Ideas that linger unacted upon consume mental energy and attention. The mind continuously returns to them, creating distraction and mental clutter. Taking action clears cognitive space, channels energy toward execution, and reduces mental noise. Focus is sharpened because the mind is engaged in tangible tasks rather than speculative thought. Momentum emerges as each completed step frees mental capacity for the next action, producing continuous forward motion. Immediate action also reinforces courage. Fear often accompanies new ideas because the unknown feels risky. Acting despite fear strengthens bravery and diminishes anxiety. Courage grows as each attempt provides evidence of capability and resilience. Momentum develops because the mind becomes conditioned to respond to opportunity with action rather than hesitation, creating a cycle where initiative produces more initiative. Execution produces satisfaction. Ideas realized through immediate action generate tangible outcomes that are rewarding and motivating. Satisfaction reinforces behavior, encouraging repetition, and inspiring further action. Each accomplishment, regardless of size, demonstrates the power of initiative. Momentum strengthens as the mind associates effort with achievement, creating a reinforcing loop where action produces energy, energy produces more action, and results compound naturally. Immediate action prevents stagnation. Many people dream, plan, and think without ever implementing. This creates frustration, wasted potential, and delayed progress. Acting immediately converts ideas into movement, breaking the cycle of stagnation. The mind experiences the psychological benefits of productivity, accomplishment, and advancement. Momentum emerges because movement, once initiated, becomes self-reinforcing, making subsequent steps easier, faster, and more confident. Taking action promptly fosters learning agility. Each idea implemented produces lessons that cannot be gained through reflection alone. Immediate engagement exposes strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities for growth. The mind adapts quickly, integrates new information, and refines strategies for better results. Momentum increases because learning is accelerated, enabling continuous improvement, enhanced decision-making, and greater confidence in handling future challenges. Acting immediately also enhances influence. People who execute ideas consistently inspire trust, credibility, and respect. Others observe results rather than intentions. Momentum is strengthened because consistent action produces visible outcomes, reinforcing your ability to lead, influence, and create impact. The habit of immediate execution signals reliability, vision, and competence, attracting support, collaboration, and opportunity. Action strengthens perseverance. Momentum is built on repeated effort, and each step taken immediately builds a rhythm of persistence. The mind develops confidence in its capacity to handle challenges, adapt to circumstances, and achieve meaningful results. This rhythm creates a self-sustaining cycle where action generates energy, energy produces motivation, and motivation drives further action. Momentum becomes unstoppable because each completed step reinforces the next. Immediate action reduces regret. Many people look back at ideas they never pursued and feel frustration, doubt, or disappointment. Acting now ensures that ideas are tested, explored, and real. Even if the outcome is imperfect, the experience is valuable. Learning is gained, decisions are informed, and growth occurs. Momentum grows because action replaces hesitation with tangible results, reducing mental clutter caused by untested potential. Immediate action strengthens self-belief. Each step taken reinforces the understanding that you are capable, resourceful, and proactive. Confidence grows because your mind sees the correlation between initiative and results. Self-belief fuels further action, reduces fear, and enhances resilience. Momentum compounds because action builds trust in your own abilities, creating a mindset primed for continuous achievement. Ultimately, acting immediately on ideas transforms potential into results, builds unstoppable momentum, and rewires your mindset for growth. Delay diminishes energy, clarity, and confidence, while action amplifies opportunity, learning, and achievement. Each immediate step generates insight, strengthens focus, and cultivates resilience. Momentum is not an accident, it is the result of repeated, decisive ideas realized through immediate effort, produce compounding effects, accelerating progress, reinforcing confidence, and inspiring further achievement. The habit of acting without delay becomes a defining characteristic of high performers, innovators, and people who shape their own destiny. By committing to the practice of immediate action, you create a cycle where ideas become movement, movement produces momentum, and momentum fuels further action. Fear diminishes, clarity increases, and your capacity to create meaningful outcomes expands dramatically. Life is transformed not by thoughts alone, but by actions, and each moment spent acting decisively builds the foundation for lasting success, personal growth, and unstoppable momentum in